Welcome to the Wild Medicine Podcast. My name is Taraney, the owner of earthly.com, a sacred path to inner healing, self-discovery, and creativity. I am an energy healer and professional artist ready to reweave ceremony and heart-centeredness into humanity. Wild Medicine is a podcast to hold sacred space to learn the ancient ways of wellness. We talk about anything from spiritual alchemy to astrology and even trauma transmutation. It is my mission to educate you on the wild medicines of our world and to show you the way to unleash your personal power. This podcast is full of episodes with both just me and plenty of our powerful guests. Each episode we will bring to you the medicines of story, knowledge, and transformation. Now is our divine time to step into the sacred space and to take in all the powerful knowledge that I have for you today. Sit back, relax, and always tune in. Take what you need and leave whatever does not serve you. It is my honor to bring this message forth for you. Please enjoy. Greetings and welcome to another Wild Medicine podcast. It's Taraney here to share another powerful episode for you guys. And this week I'm bringing on a guest, Rachael from Essence of the Mother. And honestly, this may be one of my favorite episodes. Rachael has this powerful perspective and a powerful energy about her that really shines through this episode and the messages that she carries through for us and the perspectives that she shares. We dive pretty deep into answering some questions that I know I receive a lot from quite a few of you guys, as well as in myself and my own daily experience while I'm interacting with this world. We explore what it means to be a spiritual human in these modern times and ways that we can cope with this earthly embodiment in ways that we can empower ourselves through spiritual alchemy, while also empowering the world around us, the earth, and the many other variables in our life. Rachael I love it. It was such an amazing episode, and I get goosebumps just sitting here sharing with you guys, and I can't wait to hear the feedback on this episode. So a little bit about Rachael. She's a devoted teacher of self-love mastery, a sacred ceremonialist of life, and loves to teach the many ancient and new techniques to nourish the soul in honor of self-discovery. She is a woman's mystery guide, inspiring women along the ever-unfolding path of their feminine embodiment. She is native to the Pacific Northwest in Oregon and is living a vibrant life as an artist and an intuitive healer. She is currently in Venice, California, where she does private sessions one-on-one, and she also does remote sessions for people anywhere in the world and has a profound line of flower essence medicine. And, she just has so much magic that she's working with, and I'm extremely looking forward to your guys' experience with this powerful woman. So if you do have a moment during this episode that really jazzes you and just lights you up and helps dots connect in your mind, body, and spirit, please share it with us. Definitely take a screenshot of that moment or take a video of you listening to it and share it with the world on Instagram or Facebook or any other way that resonates with you. And tag me at earthly_energy, and I will share it with my people as well. And then you can also tag at the Wild Medicine Podcast. All is good. And yeah, so the more that you can share this podcast, it really helps me, and it really helps us as a collective of the Wild Medicine Podcast to get more people on here to share their medicine and to help me invest more time and energy into this powerful project that we are cultivating here. And you can give us a review. That helps a whole bunch. Reviews are mind-blowingly helpful, and it just makes me so happy to see what the what you guys have to say about this podcast. It's honestly very helpful for me in following through with the devotion of honoring this sacred space. And in honor of you guys and all you powerful Patreons who listen to our podcast every time it comes out, I am beginning a new gathering for you guys, which is a remote new and full moon gathering that takes place every month in honor of the lunar cycle. And so remotely we gather through Zoom, an online video conference platform, and I hold space for a sacred ceremony that you can connect with as many kindred spirits who will join us along the journey. And through ceremony and a guided ritual that I will guide with us, and an automatic journaling experience to channel through the medicine that you need to hear at this time in your life, a distance Reiki healing performed by myself, and a guided meditation to settle you into this full moon energy. Through all of those aspects, we're going to cultivate a sacred space together and hold space for you to receive the potent energy healing that is ever present and so ready for you to absorb. We are going to shed, we are going to let go, we are going to break down and break through so that we can receive and fill our cup up, so that we can show up in this world with as much light and radiance as possible for us in our time right now. So if you're interested in that, if that just sounds amazing to you, definitely head over to earthly.com where you can book your spot in this sacred gathering. And it's only $7.77. And even if you're listening to this later, this is going to be an extended thing where I'm going to do this every month. So definitely check out on earthly.com. Go and see this. It's under the event tabs on our website. And you'll see it, Full Moon Ritual Gathering or New Moon Ritual Gathering. And so if you want to do it this month, I am offering a discount, which is 30% off of this experience with the code Full Moon. One word, Full Moon. So it doesn't get much better than that. I'm really excited for this. I have been dreaming of doing this for a long time, and I know there's so many of you out there who aren't in my physical space on this planet right now. So to be able to hold a space remotely is such an honor and is such a powerful way for me to do my work. So thank you to everybody who joins me on this journey. Thank you for listening. Thank you for leaving your reviews. Thank you for showing love. It really makes a difference. So why don't we go ahead and get into this powerful episode wherever you are. Welcome to the Wild Medicine Podcast. So welcome, Rachel, onto the podcast. Hello, everyone. I am here with Rachel from the Essence of the Mother, and I am very excited for this podcast. We just kind of opened this space, so I'm going to go ahead and begin with a small invocation just to get us all in the right energy and tune in. So wherever you are, whether you're driving, as some of us do while we are listening to podcasts, or you are at home, simply just tune in with yourself right now. And if it's important for you to pay attention to the world around you, that's okay. But if you're not, I invite you to gently close your eyes wherever you are and bring your hands to your heart and just breathe. And tuning in with the breath, maybe bringing your hands to your heart and tuning in with this present moment. Dear guides, angels, and guardians, we welcome you into this present moment for us to enjoy this powerful opportunity to transmute medicine to the world. And may everything that is supposed to be said in this podcast for our viewers be heard and come through gracefully and with potent magic. And may we awaken the world to the healing abilities deeply inside of ourselves, deeply inside of nature, and the whole world around us. We ask you to protect this space and to activate this space with the highest, most blissful energy. Blessings. And you can inhale deeper. And welcome to the podcast. So, welcome on, Rachel. If you would like to take this moment and kind of just introduce yourself to our listeners and share with them a little bit about yourself and how you got to be where you are today and what your offering to this world is.
Oh, thank you, Taraney. I feel so giddy. This is beautiful.
Oh, I feel giddy too. This is very special.
So that was gorgeous that you called in the sacred space for us all. And I too hold that energy of feeling blissful and calling in the joy through our medicine weave.
Yes, it always feels good to. It always feels good to like invocate that, especially with another person, because like both of our energies just like activating this space. It was so magical. I'm really excited. I feel very potent in this space as well.
Oh, bless.
Bless.
Well, it's such a journey, right, for us to have the stage and space to communicate about ourselves. So thank you, love. I know it's only self-mastery. It's treasuring our gifts, our passions, and our purpose, and it's needed to be. We have to have that space to communicate out loud who we are. It's a part of our divine blueprint. So I really appreciate you giving me that stage. And, you know, I wake up every single morning and I'm a different aspect of myself. And that's just the truest of the true. But when I align and take time to really center into my divine being, there is always this divine, bright goddess energy that's surging through my heart. She is a part of my deepest knowingness, and she always communicates out loud about the flora here on Earth, about the vibrancy of feeling good and choosing to celebrate my everyday as much as I can. You know, being human is, there's a lot of tasks, and it's not always so easy to keep our vibe going high and to stay aligned. But the flowers, they really help me here on planet Earth. So,
yes.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think that I love, the embodiment and the vision of, Flora as this light goddess. And I could see her when you were talking about it. It was magical. And I think that it's really beautiful because as we think of Flora, like that is when you look at a flower and you see that spark of divinity, that beauty, and it definitely captures me in a great awe, and it always has. And so when we're speaking about the healing from that, it's cultivating that everyday joy, it's cultivating those deep moments of bliss. And I think that is why I totally agree that they help amazing. They just help tenfold with the amount of tasks we have on planet Earth. And the amount of variables too. We have a lot of variables that we're sifting through as humans right now, and a lot to work through in order to get into that deep, joyful, blissful, and holy space.
Absolutely.
And they just drop you in. The flower just drops you in instantly. So it's very magical. I would like to know more about how you found the deep healing connection that you have with Flora, and just that journey. I would love to hear more about that.
Cool. Well, I realized that when I was a little girl, I've always had this affinity to the flora. But as we all do, we forget about our childhood, right? Until we're ready to begin to remember once again. So my current story of something that I always could use as a platform of how I found the flora was more of my adolescent years, like when things were going awry and I wasn't feeling good in my body. I was feeling really confused here. And I began to have an awakening. I started to feel energy, see energy, hear it, and not feel safe. At that time too, I was doing the whole high school thing, wanting to make friends, wanting to try and learn, do good. But at the same time, you have so many emotions happening, so many different stories through each child in that space, and so many different attention spans. And we're not, we weren't really held in a space that allows for every child to awaken their gifts. We're shown a blueprint to follow, and I could not follow the blueprint. I hated all the classes, but I would try. And the only blueprint I could jive with was art, and that's something that I would strive in. And also like the realness of the real, because it's all of our stories. I would thrive with partying and playing, right? And, playing with a little bit of alcohol and seeing how, loose that made us and how free and giddy we could all be. And so I remember feeling confused, and the only thing I could do was take drives, go out on the drive, because you have a car at that time and you can go anywhere you want to go. And in Oregon, where I lived, there was a lot of lush greenery everywhere. You drove 20 minutes away and you would be surrounded by nature, and that's where my inner compass would take me, straight to nature. Without knowingness, I knew I liked nature. I knew it felt so good to me right away. My body would calm and I would feel connected. And I would start to ask myself questions that I wouldn't ask in the normal routine of being a high school student, right? And yeah, and beyond that. So one day I was out there doing my thing, and I just started to notice that my body would break out in sweats. She would begin to release, but I didn't know what that was at that time. And so I just kind of like, whoa, this is weird, right? You don't know. You're so young. No one's taught you. My parents didn't teach me about anything of releasing and healing your body. And so I would take this into account and kind of do my thing, go back to home, live the life. And then whenever I needed something outside of myself, I thought, right, I would go to nature, and I would notice that my body would do the same thing of sweating. And actually, like, even my yoni would release too. So my full-on body was being activated by the healing forces of the natural world. And so after a minute, right, like it took me probably a few months, she began to visit me in dreams, and I would see nature and feel nature. And so much so that it was such potent visions that I would see myself truly there, and I would wake up in the middle of the night being shocked, because I'd be like, holy shit, where am I? Sorry.
Wow. That's okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I would be so taken out of my comfort zone, because I would literally in my dream state be standing there in a sacred space of nature and places that I haven't been in this lifetime. So I would see like places, that look like Machu Picchu. And I had seen it before, but I had never been there. But in my dream state, I was there. So much so that it jolted me out of my sleep.
Wow.
Yeah. And, was really kind of like, whoa, what's this? And I'm young, so I'm probably, 17 at this time, 18. So it was a whole different story that started to come into my adolescence. And at this time, you don't really talk to your friends about this stuff, right? They're all into clothes, they're into studies, and where people are going to college and into whatever is there. But not many people were into what I was experiencing, so I kept it kind of quiet. And then, after high school and whatnot, I started to deepen this connection to nature, and I would go on journey quests. I would hang out with her the whole day and begin to practice opening myself to feeling the sensations that were moving and caressing through my being. which became a really profound, life experience that has shifted my entire connection to being here on planet Earth.
Wow. And I can, almost like I can see you there and just and witnessing that magic. I think that's really powerful that, even with the dreams and jolting you out of your dreams and then going on these journey quests, as you call them, to just go spend the whole day in nature and to just sit with it and learn from it and allow yourself to build that connection. Because like you said, we weren't taught how to do this. We weren't guided, definitely not by the system, and most of us not our parents and our family members. So when we can awaken to it simply by the force of the universe, it takes a lot to listen. So I think it's really magical that you went, like, even in high school, and I think I can definitely relate with you on that, because when I moved to Texas, I was like a senior in high school or something, and I was so different for me because before I had lived in Las Vegas, Nevada, so lived totally in the city, and then in Colorado, I lived in the city, but about I would say probably about a 20-minute drive to somewhere where there was deep nature. But when I moved to Texas, there was, nature all around me. I could walk, a few blocks and there'd just be a whole field that you could just walk straight into and explore all the different plant life. And for me, that really created this refuge for me to go. At that time, being new in a whole city, brand new people, brand new experience with my parents. And I can remember that going into the nature and to just sit there and to enjoy myself and experience the quietness and the breeze and the simplicity. And so when you were sharing about your journey quest, I'm really curious in like what that looked for you, like sitting with nature and being with nature and listening to it. Maybe there were some things that you did or rituals that you did, if you're comfortable sharing, just so that we can all maybe see how that could fit into our experiences when we step into the sacred space of going into nature and listening to the Great Mother in this space.
Beautiful. Yeah. First, I want to say that Gaia is a sentient being, and she holds energy systems just like we do. So everything that we learn about our own chakras, about our energy field, she already has that. She's already glowing and radiating a force field. And when you step into nature, or when you brush against a flower or some, living creature, you right then and there have the allowance inside of your being to begin to communicate to that part of nature, to that piece of her. And as we really harness into our willpower, we start to understand that we are the creators of our life. And we also are the only beings who can actually heal ourselves. It's up to us. We can, utilize support in our healing, absolutely. But we have to make that decision inside of our willpower, inside of our heart. It has to be there. So when we walk into this moment of nature, that's our birthright. That's our space. We're created from this beautiful space, and we get to declare what it is that we need support or guidance with. And as soon as you start to open that communication, whether it's out loud or internally, as soon as you open that, you will begin to notice that your auric field is receiving from the auric fields around you. And I feel like, not everyone remembers this truth. And I want to help people understand that it is your own choice to communicate to her. And she is waiting for you. She's communicating to you, whether you know it or not, through her color, her sense, her sounds, and just through her vibration. So she's, waiting for us all to take the initiative to heal ourselves, to be our own medicina onto ourselves, and to work with her and communicate what it is that we'd like support with. So when I would hang out in nature, after I got really comfortable and started to be like, okay, cool, guess I'm just a fairy. This is just kind of my thing, and I don't feel weird anymore. And I can kind of talk to my mom about it, and she's cool. And all right, this is what I'm claiming. I would just like pack a little lunch, do my cute thing, be a little adventure girl, and I would go out, find some hikes, and just discover. And what I started to notice was that I would be greeted by different flowers, and the flowers would completely take me out of my body and into a whole different realm of my own existence. And that was such an experience. And so I noticed this, right? I'm having these awakening experiences. I'm having these far out feelings that people receive through taking drugs, and I'm not taking drugs. So I'm realizing, like, whoa, what is this? This is captivating. It's something different, and I feel safe. So I begin to allow myself to follow through and go towards that flower and bend down. And I would start to see this entire energy field of the flower that I could never, ever see before. And it would just be this powerful reflection. And that reflection would begin to awaken my own body and would begin to start to tell me things and awaken my sensories, my mind. And I would just have, what I can call a transmission. Something would shift inside of me. And I started to practice this. I would go then to the next flower and be like, well, then who are you? And dive down and start to receive different sensations and different, knowledge that honestly just meant something to me. That's it. And so I started to bring my journal around. I would take notes and I would play. These are my friends. I would completely play and start to document how my body was feeling, what was coming through her. Where is the blockage? Ooh, this feels weird and uncomfortable over here in this part of my body. And I also started to see that my mind would start to remember things or think of things that I haven't thought of in so long. Right. And now I know that she was processing things that she never was safe to process from childhood. But it was because there was a flower that was assisting her in that unique vibration and medicine that had to go in and unlock that piece of her that's been hidden to start to coax it out to receive healing or a complete release. So yeah, I mean, that's a little taste of what would be, my every week outing, because I became so enchanted and there was nothing that was cooler. There was, I wasn't into anything else. Nature was talking to me. I didn't care. And, I did leave a lot of people behind, as we do when we begin to awaken. And that was a piece of it. I was just like, no, it's easier to hang out here in nature. So yeah.
No, yeah, and I can agree with that. And I think something that really moved me and stuck out to me when you were saying that was about how Gaia is a sentient being, just like we are sentient beings. And of course, that connection and that communication is always open. But when you step into Gaia's presence, Gaia's aura, her fields, and you allow yourself to be 100% present with your senses and her senses and use them as corridors to communicate with one another, it's like a whole new relationship. And I love that how like just excited and ecstatic you are sharing this, because it reminds me, like I definitely it's beautiful to have that reminder that, like, yes, take it deeper, allow yourself to fall into the lessons, and allow yourself to fall into the experience and the sensations that we can receive from just even one plant without even taking it into our bodies or touching it. Just witnessing it and looking at it and being in its presence, which is something I've been learning a lot about, just like going into nature and sitting with a plant and learning how to communicate with the plants and their beings. And they are so eager to, like you said, to communicate with us. They're like, oh my gosh, yes, it's one of these fairy,
Yes.
it's one of these fairy girls that's like ready to communicate with me. Yay. So they're excited, and it's available to anyone. And I think that some of my most profound healings have been in that space as well, where you can simply, come up to a tree and press its leaf on your heart and just pray to it and ask for healing, or just sitting, like you said, next to a flower, or maybe, anywhere next to a river or lake, and ask for it to share its medicine. It's something so simple, and I think that the more us as humans can engage in this relationship in this intimate way, the much more powerful it is to be a human, and the much more enlightened you see this experience as. Because if you're not connecting to nature, it's really easy to believe that nature is sick, and that, that this earth is falling. Of course, there's degradation, and there's definitely pain and hardship going on. But when you can tune in and connect to the overall like auric field and biosphere and energy center of the earth and connect with it and feel it, there's a lot more there to tap into, that can bring that can bring you into that presence and that healing. And I think that it's like the best way to engage with not just learning nature, but doing your own self-discovery, because that's how you found yourself. That's how you found your happiness. That's how you found your connection, not just to beyond physicality, but beyond yourself, and the multiple layers of yourself, and what it means to be you. So that's really, really magical. And thank you for that memory, and thank you for the sharing that, because I think it's going to help a lot. So so that brings me to ask, like, what current medicine are you working in your daily life right now that is wild, that is in that nature of just being different and wild and untamed and fun? What are you working with?
Well, it's so cool because we had a ceremony last night with Wild Rose.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And she's stunning. Yeah.
That sounds so beautiful.
Oh, it was incredible. She is the flora that opens us into the space of our heart and really gets us starting to feel into our romance. What is it to be romanced? What is it to call forth a romantic life? And she really, brings us, hones us into luxury, to the luxury and the richness of your existence and your self-love here on earth. And so working with her, she's always a guide to my feminine energy. And she's also a flower that has been, pushed away. Everyone knows the rose. Everyone knows the rose, the ancient rose, right? But she's a sacred flower that holds ancient folklore and poetry and symbolism and scents and smells. And she stands so tall with the strength, and she represents having thorns. She represents being so beautiful, yet she does have these sharp cutting thorns. So she takes us into the embrace of what is it to have boundaries? What does it feel like for your luxurious, romantic existence, for the worth of your heart to live out loud in your beauty and the inner beauty of who you are, still holding your sense of value and boundary? So yeah, she's been ruling through my world, and I'm from Portland, Oregon, and I just moved here to Venice, so I'm really calling her in. And as I'm here in California now, there's another flower, the bird of paradise, who's just always has been my friend, and she's just this wacky, vibrant, silly flower that awakens our flamboyance and uncages us. So this flower always opens me up to looking into, where am I keeping myself contained? Where am I controlling myself? And she starts to move me into those spaces within my story and begins to unlock, so that I can be this radiant, high flying freedom flag of my own being and my own nature. Yeah, and these are my two girls right now. But every day I hang out with a new flower all the time, which we all can do. But I really think that, like, if you haven't connected with the healing powers one-on-one with flowers, it is so smart to focus on one flower or a particular blend, so that you can really start to feel into your intuition and your own innate connection to that flower. Because everything that a flower may be awakening inside of me is going to actually do something different to the beholder, because we're all unique beings and we all have a different karma and different story. So I definitely recommend, if you're out in the wild, if you're making your medicine, or if you're buying from someone who crafts it, right on, but take a moment just to hone into a single flower and get to know, like, who is this beautiful caretaker of nature, and why am I called to work with her? Why is she here for me? And also journaling with her, communicating like we spoke about, and starting to set your ritual through your voice, through your meditation, through your altar, through your writing, and starting to allow this flower to be an ally and a guide for you, and communicating what it is that you're opening towards on your path and what you're ready to receive. And that starts to create a bond between you and that plant.
Yeah, I can definitely. Rose, I have been actually working with Rose a lot lately, and I can definitely relate to the medicine that you're speaking about, her harnessing for us, and the symbolic nature of the way that the rose holds itself, and it has its thorns and its soft petals and its deep scent, and we wonder why she's the queen, why everybody knows the rose. It's because of that glory and that grace that she holds. And I think that something that I want to share with people is, even if you don't have, some roses are easy to see growing and still connected to the earth. But say other plants, maybe it's just been coming in your mind, or you've been seeing pictures in it. We work in this multidimensional way. So even if this physical flower isn't here in your physical reality, you can still connect with it using the power of your mind, and using imagination, and using pictures, and using other essences, or maybe some different herbal medicines that connect with that flower. We can engage with the healing benefits of all elements of nature, simply without having to physically be in their presence. And that's something that I've been practicing a lot lately, especially with since we're in fall, and it's like, the plants are starting to go into a new phase of their being, and transforming in that way. So you can still connect with them within your mind, within your memories. And that's something that really helps me too, especially if there's a lack of wildness in your environment. Say if you live in like the city or somewhere that's not cultivating that space.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because energetics, like everything relates on an energy level, and that's how spirit medicine is really able to fulfill itself.
Right. And it starts within us. And
Mm-hmm.
as you're communicating about, seeing the picture or envisioning, like what we do know from Rose that anyone could pick up is that it's a protector. So if you're ever out there and you're needing extra strength in your light of boundaries or just extra comfort of protection to feel safe here on earth, you can envision the beautiful flower of the rose starting to grow around your auric field and be the one who says, yeah, I want some vines here. Yeah, I want some thorns here. I need this right now. I'm going through a lot. I'm growing. I'm transforming. I'm speaking my voice for the first time. Hell yeah, I'm going to create this around my auric field. And then you can start to focus on that every single day. When you wake up, you can offer the flora into your vision and into your energy body and assist and ask and tell the way that you want support, and start to see them growing in your energy field next to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then next thing you know, they'll be popping up in your physical reality everywhere.
Yes. Totally.
Yeah.
Then someone sends you roses and you're like, all right, cool, I see you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I experience that quite often. It's amazing. And it's that connection. And we have to nurture this connection and cultivate it. And so the more that you do the inner work on cultivating that connection, the more, Gaia, the more she, even just the divine feminine energy, is able to bear witness to you because you're calling out to it with the power of your spirit, with your power of your psyche and your intention. And we can go into nature, but if you're just walking through nature, that doesn't, and you say you see a flower, that doesn't mean that you're always going to like sit with it and connect with it. So like you have to cultivate that in your mind, and then you'll gain that confidence and you'll gain that deep desire where you can't help but to just sit with this plant and receive its deep medicine.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, and that's like what's going to bring us into our radiant self, is holding those sacred moments to heal. And I love what you said about imagining, the whatever you're working with, like growing in your aura. Like that just sounds so blissful, like blooming roses in our aura and allowing there to be the vines and the roots and the leaves, and just letting it all be welcomed into you in multiple layers. I love that. So I'm also giddy giggles. I love it. So I also wanted to ask some questions about your ceremonies and what that's like to cultivate that space for you. Like how the flowers work through you in these ceremonies, and maybe that some of the medicine that you've witnessed people break through and bloom through within the flower essence healing and the different work that you do.
Oh, geez. I have so many goosebumps. That's such a big, beautiful question. Oh my gosh. Well, as you know, like each ceremonial space is completely different.
100%.
Yeah. Right. And you never know what you're going to get. But as you hold ceremony, I imagine this is what I go through, but I imagine, everyone goes through this. You begin to already start to have your healing the days before leading up to the ceremony. And for myself, whatever medicine I need, I bring that to sacred space. So yeah, ceremonies, and I mean it in the highest form of self-love, ceremonies are for me. They're for me. They're for what I truly need. And as I show up in that space, then I can hold the others for who need the same medicine. So I receive a healing going into this creation space. And as I receive the healing, then I'm knowledgeable. then I know how to help assist others while they're channeling into their healing. Um, but through ceremony work, as it's always so different, there's no right, there's no wrong. It's just coming together, being open, vulnerable, choosing to be safe, and choosing to enter into our divinity, into our love even more. But in that space, I usually work with a single plant, a single flower, and we ingest this flower through tea ceremony, through flower essence therapy, and we begin to awaken our body, our physical body, through breath work, through movement, through sighing, through noises, getting really wild, and just starting to open ourselves, cleansing out all of our humanness, all of our distractions, everything we think we are, so that we can be a completely clear conduit to receive the vibration, the plant spirit medicine of whoever we're working with. And as each, sister, and sometimes men, as they take in that medicine, they begin to go on their own journey. And it's always encouraged to, go further, breathe it out. If something feels uncomfortable, amazing. It's trying to move out of you. It's trying to support you to receive and open and align to your prana and to your life force. And so in that process, then, you feel like you're connected because everyone's going through their thing. They're all on their unique journey. Well, we're all holding space together. And through that, at the end, whether we travel through journey meditation, and I'm kind of communicating some guided entryways of connecting to this plant, envisioning this plant, the deity of this sacred flower. What does she represent to you? Why is she coming to you in this chapter of your life? What are you longing to ask her? How do you want to see your future self weaving with this power, her representation, her unique medicine? At the end of ceremony, we all share our voice of how we are embodying the energy of this plant right here and right now, and what she told us all as individuals. And that experience is so profound because then you start to feel, as popcorn style of sacred voices coming through, you start to feel everyone's connection to that plant, and it's creating an orb around us all, and it just makes sense. We're evoking her, we're sharing our unique truths, and as we listen in, we're all holding that person's experience and we're locking it in, saying, yes, that's your truth, that's what she's teaching you, it's valid, this is a part of her petal. And then the next sacred voice comes out and shares their piece of the petal. And so at the end of this beautiful ceremonial space, we all have a really strong representation of who this plant is. And that's something that, you just understand it after you've gone through the whole process. And then you leave your sacred space knowing who that flower is in a deep dwelling space for you. You know who she is. And then you revisit her, perhaps, in utilizing her through flower essence form, or coming to another ceremony, or doing your own work. And you'll start to see that she has more to tell you. She has more. It's a never-ending book for each identity of the flora.
I agree. I definitely am warm and goosebumpy, just listening to you share this experience. I think that I can just feel the potent magic and imagining being in a space with that many people, focusing on one flower and the magic that it's holding for each individual person, but also the entire collective. I can just, I love it. I'm there.
I think we will make this happen sometime in our future.
I know. I feel it. I'm I need to go to one of these. I'm yes. Yeah, that makes me excited. And I think something that this deep reminder that's been just so profoundly a big guiding force in my life, and I can see that with you as well, is how this work, and when we're holding the space, we're not just doing it for ourselves, and we're not just doing it for the world. We're doing it for both simultaneously. And when we come into a space, I find this not just with like, people that I'm working with individually or in ceremony and gathering, but it's also in communion with the nature. Like everything is going on, not just for me, but for you. By healing you, by giving you energy, by holding space for you, I'm also doing that for myself, because the entire world is a beautiful, glorious mirror around us. If we choose to step into life in that way, and say that what is for me is what is for you, since this is coming into my life, since I'm seeing all of different medicines that are coming into your life, I know that you need this too. So it's like a big cycle that I feel like we go through. I think it could be really easy for people to get into a space of like, I'm doing this, I'm going to nature to heal myself, but it's like you're going into nature to hold this space for yourself and heal yourself, but you're also going into it because you're holding space and healing nature, healing aspects of nature, or you're doing it with ceremony or with client work. I think that there's this intertwined relationship with wild medicine. It's in that area of being 100% equal for everybody, and so that's the biggest reason to show up and to build the connection and to bridge those worlds, is to do it for everyone. It's not one-sided. The healing is endless, like you said. It's just almost like the flora, like the lessons that she has for us. It's endless. It could go on forever. And the more that we bridge that connection, the more that we feed the connection, the longer and the deeper it can go for everyone involved, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And Taraney, like right now, a lot of us are holding so much fear around nature, and rightfully so. But Gaia is saying to us, don't hold that fear, do something about it, but envision my paradise, envision me well. Don't hold the vision of my decay or my suffering. Envision me healthy, envision me vibrant and well. And something I always reflect as, there is truth. She is shifting because of mankind, absolutely. But mankind is her daughters and her brothers and our powerful creators. So as you know, whatever we hold in our being, in our thoughts, in our subconscious, in our visions, she is receiving that. So if you want to be a stewardess to her, and that's, you might not know or have the means, well, I think we all can create many ways of uplifting her, but right from where we are, whether we're in bed, whether we're on the train, whether we're at a concert or we're indoors somewhere, we hold the power to envision her well, vibrant, healing, breathing, clarity, cleanse. And at the same time, there is the unseen beyond the veil of support systems that are envisioning and helping her be well too. She is taken care of, and she's, awaiting us to hold that with her. And something that is so cool to see is that herbalism is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
The witches are alive. The priestesses are here, and the flora and the plants are being really are drawing us in. So look at us all starting to utilize, or many of us starting to become normal and more in comfort with natural remedies, with the mushrooms, with the many different healing plants around us at a time when other people are saying, she's sick, she's decaying, it's all going south. But at the same time, look at her. Look at her be in your body. Look at the way that you work with her, that you're keeping her alive, that you're keeping her thrive just by being with her and appreciating her and sharing her and sending flowers, creating altars, planting the plants in your garden, clearing the home with your plants, ingesting, putting the oils on your body and sharing them, and also going behind the gates to see, where does this company come from? Where does this medicine of plants, where is it being sourced? And is it being sourced in a way that's actually supportive to the culture and to the land there? Or is it a mystery? Is it a complete unknown? And that's something that we all have the right to do, is to figure out who's behind this creation. And that's something that I always take in account. Like, I really feel into, if I'm going to put medicine in my body, I just feel in like, is this good vibes? And is it helping support a mass, or is it depleting a mass? And I'm going to take in that energy and be a part of that depletion. So, yeah, kind of rampaging off, but
I love it. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Cool. Good. Yay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. She wants us all to celebrate her and to just see her glowing healthy as she is, and instead of shunning and saying, oh, she's so sick, like if you're carrying that, you're just feeding that energy and that future. But I'm here to carry, like, yes, there is illness in us all, as you spoke about the reflection. And yes, Mother Earth and what's happening on the earth right now is there is plenty of shadow that's reflecting out loud, but this shadow is opening us up to choose. What are we going to do? What are we going to say yes to? What are we going to feed? Will we feed that fear, or will we begin to envision a whole new paradigm?
Yeah, it's truly like a conscious revolution that, we have to feed, and we have to choose to feed. And especially when it comes to being an advocate for the connection, and not just, like you said, we need to step up and think about, especially if it's herbal medicines or anything that draws from nature, where is it coming from? How is it harvested? Is it respected? And especially like even with crystals, or these tools that we are using, not just for our physical healing and our immune healing, but also our spiritual healing, making sure that it's in integrity with the planet, so that when we're engaging into this connection, we are choosing and we are showing up on our choice that we want the highest good for this planet, and that we are choosing to see the highest good for this planet. For me, like I mentioned before, I live in Houston right now. And I've definitely had to like work that muscle of choosing to see the earth as healthy as possible, and choosing to be an active force in cultivating healthier space. And I know that people out there can struggle with that if you live in a big city, and if you live somewhere where there's so many people and there's so much concrete, it can be really natural for you to go into that perspective. But the moment you liberate yourself from that perspective and choose to say, you know what, actually, this is a tiny spot on this planet. And there's many more spots that are just completely flourishing. And there's something I can do in this spot on the planet to promote even more flourishing of nature, and even more presence, and even more, I like to think of it as like a corridor. Like we're just like creating these corridors of life force energy, and respect and honor for the earth. So I think that, I think that this conversation has really enlightened the ability that you can show up, and you can connect, and you can be, and you can heal in so many ways. Like there is no way to be limited, because it all begins in the power of your mind and your actions.
Beautiful. Woo!
Yes. Woo!
That's clear.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Beautiful. This was such a good conversation. I think this is a good point
So good.
to wrap it up. And this was, so profound. And just thank you so much for being a clear channel and doing the work, like not just for others in the sacred space that you hold for others on our planet, but doing the work for yourself so that you can be the clear channel. And I just appreciate it so much. Like even on, I found you through the online world, and I just feel your presence and I feel the healing. And so thank you for cultivating that space in every, area that you touch. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my greatest honor. Thank you, love. And I dream to know what's your favorite flower, babe.
Oh my goodness, my favorite flower. I think right now my favorite flower is definitely passion flower. It just bloomed here in Southeast Texas, so it's just been pulling me in and captivating me, and spent some time sitting with it and connecting with it, and I have it in an essence now, and I think it's just, that would be my favorite flower right now. That beautifully just captivating and transcending just with its physical presence. But also the medicine that it has in pulling me in to nourish myself deeper, nourish my world around me, and just, clear things. Like it's a very clearing flower. So that's the magic. That's the magic I'm working with right now, for sure.
Beautiful.
In the flora world.
I know her well and love her just as you do too.
She's super captivating, just up there with Rose. It's like, how could you not? You're just drop dead gorgeous. So as where can people find you? Where can people connect with you? And just share a little bit about your presence and where people can continue to work with you.
Awesome. Yeah. I do a lot of work on Instagram, and my business is called Essence of the Mother. And my website is essenceofthemother.life. And I do session work, retreats, ceremonial gatherings, and also just have plenty of flower power to offer to everyone. So I'd love to connect. Absolutely. And thank you for creating that space.
And definitely. I'm just like dreaming of your, you also make like full moon and new moon essences.
Yeah.
And I just want to let people know that you do that, because I think it's really awesome. And I think that people would really love to engage in that as well. So she does that too.
Cool. Oh my gosh. Well, I would love to send you a new moon essence. Actually, I think, we're going into the full moon.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. In a few days. Yay.
Yes. We'll have to connect, and I'll send you that goodness over.
Oh, lovely. That would be beautiful. And yay. Thank you so much. Definitely everybody out there, follow her on Instagram and check out the powerful work, because you just share so many potent reminders. And like, it's this conversation, but it's like literally on Instagram with just powerful and reminders of presence and of spirit and self-nourishment. So thank you so much. What a beautiful conversation. Yay. Thank you.
Thank you, sis. I'm so grateful. This was everything.
All right.
Thank you, my love.
All righty. Enjoy your evening, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Rock on, beauty.
Rock on. I hope you guys enjoyed that podcast and received as much medicine as I have received through this powerful experience of speaking with a human on our planet who nurtures the relationship with our planet and with the potent and beautiful and graceful energy of the flowers. And so if you liked this episode, please give us a rating, hit that subscribe button, and keep enjoying this magic. I'm really looking forward to continuing to connect with you guys. If you have any recommendations on folks that you would love to hear on our podcast, go ahead and email us, shoot us a message, and let us know who you want to hear. Many, many, many blessings and Reiki to you all. Sat Nam.